Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for the webinar about measurement of TV impact on the traffic and conversion. This is a very interesting webinar for me specifically because we bring in the experts from e-dialog to talk about different methodologies and different ideas about tracking of TV. And we've been continuing to do webinars ourselves as you have been a regular participants to our webinar. In today's webinar, we have yours truly. My name is Ravi Pathak, and I'm a founder and CEO at AdWords. And I'm going to be joined by Siegfried Stepke. Siegfried is a founder and CEO at e-dialog. e-dialog is a web analytics and consulting company, and we'll hear more about them just in a short while. Siegfried, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Excellent. Okay, so before we start, can you quickly introduce e-dialog and yourself a little bit more?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that you invited us. We are longtime colleagues as Google Analytics certified partners. We exist since 11 years here with 20 employees in Austria. We cover markets in Central Europe. We help every industry that knows that they benefit from digital marketing. And we're certified not only in analytics but also in other web analytics tools. And as you will see later, upcoming is a lot the trending topic, programmatic marketing. And I think that's for the introduction, and I'm happy to present together with Ravi all of the details regarding TV tracking.
Wonderful. That's very nice. As you spoke about e-dialog, I'll just quickly introduce our company. AdWords is a web analytics company, and we are pretty much focused on Google Analytics Premium and Google Analytics free software as well. We have several products, and we have 3,000 plus happy customers for these products. We have Excel integrations and price discovery engine and anomaly detection systems as well. So without further ado, I will quickly jump onto a small administrative details that we wanted to talk about. Please make sure that your mic is muted and you're able to listen to us and you can see the screen effectively. This webinar is also going to be recorded, so if you do not have to hurry and take your notes, and if you just want to focus on listening of the webinar, that is totally awesome. There's going to be a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, so please start your questions as when they occur and write them down in the question section that you have on the panel of GoToWebinar. And at the end of the webinar, we will cover as many questions as possible within the permitted amount of time. One of the most important things as we do these different webinars, we have learned a lot from the feedback that we have received from our audience. So it will be wonderful if you can provide your feedback and suggestions on topics, suggestions on how we can improve the content, and that will be awesome for us to improve, and we'll continue to share our learnings. In today's webinar, we have about 5 different sections to cover, and these 5 sections we have Siegfried going to talk about the second screen effect, which is a very interesting concept that I learned when I sort of reviewed his presentation. And then I will talk about the methods, sort of why web analytics data can be used for TV tracking, how you can use them for TV tracking, and what could be the expected outcomes that you can share with, how can you sort of optimize some of your media plan or some section of your media plan overall using the web analytics data. And in the next 2 sections, there's going to be very interesting discussions that Siegfried will take us through on programmatic marketing and how you can actually use very intelligent tactics to benefit from not only your TV tracking but also from competitors' TV tracking as well. So I'm very excited of what Siegfried is going to talk about, and I wouldn't want to waste a lot of time, and I would just be glued to my screen on listening what Siegfried has to say. Siegfried, would you want to start off with the second screen effect?
I'm happy to do that. Could you please give me the moderator, and I'm happy to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I just shared the presentation rights with you. Oh yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
I think not all of us remember these pictures, but similar to that, TV watching has happened yesterday. We know all the family and all the people staring at the TV screen, and all our attention was at the program, of course. And now guess what the picture might look like today. And if you look at today's picture, you see the difference. We're not talking about a single screen in the living room anymore. Today we talk about every people in the room has at least another screen, the so-called second screen. And in my family, when there are 4 people, sometimes there are 6 or 7 screens in the living room at the same time, and everybody's doing something else, and when the TV is running aside. So this effect is not only bad for TV, but it drives a lot of traffic to our website. Why does this happen? Here is a study that shows us what people do in the same time that they watch TV. Nearly all of the people check their email, or they visit a social network, or, and then it gets very interesting, they look up information related to the TV program. TV ad that might trigger the attention of the viewers, and then they use their second screen, their mobile or tablet, to do research related to your ad. And if things happen very good, then they land on your website, on your campaign site, or on your homepage. And why is this so interesting? In most of the regions that TV spend has still the biggest share of ad spend. Let's say here a study collected by Zenit Optimedia saying about 40% of media budget are placed on TV. So when we say we spend 40% of our budget, then of course we should measure it, and when we measure it and learn how it works, then we can optimize the next flight. We can optimize the media plan, we can optimize the ads and creatives, the spots. We can even optimize the placement and the time. When is the effect the highest? Is it for me 6 in the afternoon or 7, or what program should feature my ad? And therefore we can leverage the second screen effect, because there is a lot to gain and nothing to lose. So this was my part of the introduction, why we should do all of this. And I'll hand over to Ravi to let him continue. So it's up to you, Ravi.
All right, yeah. Thank you. That was very interesting. I think I was glued to the screen again as you sort of see the change in the sort of flavor of watching the TV. It is very interesting to see that this typical behavior is pretty much pervasive on all the cultures and all the countries, with the second screen being gaining the importance. So yeah, I think this is very fantastic. That's a fantastic concept. Okay, so I'm going to talk about very quickly on how you should sort of measure the TV advertisement using web analytics data. And I'll probably start with why web analytics data is beneficial. So if you look at the current landscape of TV and what are the response behavior that exists. A typical response behavior can be categorized either a behavior online or a behavior offline. And in offline behavior, to understand the response of the TV advert that you have, you can have interviews, audience recollection interviews, measurement techniques like TRPs, and a variety of other techniques that you can employ. However, in case of online behavior, you have a web analytics tools data that is generally being used by a siloed web team staying somewhere in the sort of a region where nobody looks at web. But if you use the web analytics tools data, that could become a very important factor in measuring a certain behavior that you would want to measure via web analytics data. So couple of limitations that I wanted to bring together is when you use the offline measurement, you have a very limited geographical reach or demographic reach, and the biggest of all, there are sampling errors that can actually skew the understanding of the response that an advertisement could have generated. And there are costs associated with it. You got to have agency and the data providers, and agency needs that data. And it's just a pretty long, cumbersome process to get a genuine understanding or a reasonably accurate understanding of the response to a given advert. However, there's one thing which is very important to know here is that when you estimate online behavior as a response to an advert, that's a very direct way to measure the response versus in case of offline behavior or offline way to measure, it's a very indirect way to measure. It's sort of a post facto ways or after some time measurement as we call it. So this is why it's a bit more, it's a good project to understand, to use web analytics tools data to understand the impact of a given TV advert. So while we are at it, it's also important to understand what would you want to measure. And we identified at a very basic level, if you're starting this project as either an agency or as an analyst in your web business or web analytics team, you should start with a very basic longevity of the impact of a given advert. You should try and measure the size of an impact of an advert, and you should try and measure interesting long-term benefit using the cohort analysis from that advert. What generally happens is most advertisers have a very seasonal or season way. They have a given season where they would want to push a big chunk of their media budget, and when such things happen, it is very important to measure that does the advert of let's say selling air conditioners is having an impact over the next 2 to 3 months, which is a peak season time or not. So I'm in my presentation today, I'm going to be focused on the first two parts, longevity and size of the impact. So that I'll keep that as a limited impact. So what to measure is important apart from the size and longevity. What metrics that you would want to focus is for a typical e-commerce business or even a lead gen funnel. A typical funnel looks like what you see in your screen, and most advertisements have a focus to bring on more people to the websites or bring on more people to a certain action that you want them to do online. So as a first phase of the project, you should focus on just visitors or users. as a metric value, and you can obviously measure advanced engagement of these users. You can actually measure advanced factors like how many subscribers we've got, how many buyers we've got from this typical advertising campaign that you do. But it's more important sort of to start with just to focus on the visitors. And this is a three-step process. So in our understanding, when you're starting a first project in television measurement, you should focus on, as a first step is to unify the web analytics data and TV Adspot data. In the second step, you should measure the statistical change in the key metric before and after TV advertisement is aired. And as a third step, you should measure the time duration for which the change in a given metric is visible, or essentially longevity of the change that was observed by a given TV advert. And as we've understood that, we've sort of at a level where, how do we do it? And I'll walk you through on how do we do it. But as we understand that, from a broader standpoint, there are projects where you start with, why the TV advert is important, because you have a web analytics data. It's a low-cost mechanism to analyze the advert because there's huge billions of dollars being spent on TV, and you want to use your web analytics data to identify what could be the potential response of different adverts. That's an amazing way to do it. And then we learned that you should focus on the visitors at a high level because the goal of the advertisements are mostly to bring on more people to the website. And eventually, we also talked about, I also talked about how do we sort of process this data of how do we measure it from, how do we sort of unify data and impact, calculate the impact, longevity, and the impact size as well. If you follow this three-step process, the insights that you could generate could definitely become a better estimation of a response to TV advertisement. It can never be a most accurate picture or most accurate number of how many people have seen the website, because many people would see a different or many people would do a different activity while they are on they are seeing a TV, and the second screen effect into social network, into the email, could actually have a different data points. So as we sort of learn how, let's get into a bit more detail of how you would want to achieve this. And a very interesting or simpler way to do this is to get a specific set of TV advertisement data, which starts with a timestamp, and you can get a metadata of all the TV advertisements from a timestamp of which channel it aired on, which was the show, what duration during the show the advertisement was aired, whether this was a regional advert or whether this is a national advert, whether it happened on a weekday or weekend, or if you want to do it, whether that was cost data that you may want to sort of use it. What you need to do is to sort of map this all TV advertisement data with a primary key as date and time, which is sort of a timestamp, and merge it with a very basic elementary metrics of web analytics tool that can give you. I can guarantee that this is very elementary use of the metric, but what I'm proposing here to all of you is you start with something. You start with a very basic analysis of TV advertisement, and then you progress towards some far more advanced and statistically challenging projects of measuring the response of TV advertisement. Here is a typical graph that you can see that I pulled out of one of the AdWords that we had. The blue line indicates the number of users, and the green line indicates the expected value of users at a given minute. And we identified that about at 9 hours and 6 minutes, the AdWord was aired, and the typical case of that AdWord was that the AdWord was for an e-commerce store. The goal of the AdWord was to bring people to the website. And the green line, like I said, it measured it was a predefined expected value using an anomaly detection algorithm that we have. So we could calculate that there is a longevity of about 6.5 minutes from due to the TV AdWord. So the blue line suddenly shot up after probably a minute of ad being aired, and then it remained above the expected value for about 7.5 minutes. And what this means is that we could identify that there is a longevity associated with this TV AdWord. And we could also identify statistically by measuring using pair t-test, we could identify the size of the impact that this brought in, or this particular advertisement brought in. And this is normal case. So this is the analysis, and this happens mostly on the back end, or in data processing code, but I basically use this chart to bring in and explain the method to sort of show you off as to what you want to, how do you sort of use longevity and the impact size, and eventually come up with a reasonable estimates of how many number of additional users this TV AdWord has brought in. While you do that, there are a couple of important factors that you must remember, and one of them is expectations management. When you sort of propose it to either your client or boss, we've seen in past that you really need to manage the expectation well, because you just need to tell that this is a better method to measure the response of TV, and this is not a panacea. We also found that there had been quite a number of data quality issues from agencies. So agency may not have a right data from the network. So you need to do a lot of work on data validation. And very importantly, this is a case where a particular AdWord is running, and there are other factors which sort of gets into confusion mode, or there are multiple sources, or a same AdWord is running on multiple network, which could cause a sudden increase in traffic, and that traffic that could sustain. So those things needs to be taken care of, and combined impact of other media as well needs to be taken care of. This is specifically for the case when your AdWord is being aired in the morning. You could have a people, and if you have done a print advertisement on newspaper, both the impact can collide and have a larger than expected impact from this multi-channel media exposure that your users have. You should be very careful of other unknowns that can impact traffic. However, as long as you identify the longevity of the a particular AdWord, or when you have many AdWords and you have measured the average longevity of the AdWords, you can sort of segregate the impact of each individual advertisements. So you however have to be very careful about these factors as they impact your data. Let me quickly shift now to show you a couple of examples of the outcomes that we were able to identify using the analysis using Google Analytics data. And if you look at the chart, we were able to identify the average duration of impact, or average longevity of impact that occurs for organic searches, users, and the sessions. And we could find that this is within a range of about 4.5 minutes to 5.5 minutes, with about 90% confidence level, which is 2 sigma. And that was fairly comforting for us that the impact remains as an expected value in terms of the time the impact exists. We used, again, the paired t-test to measure the duration of impact as well. So you can employ different statistics technique to calculate this as well. The next example that I have is actually an actionable example that we could recommend very directly to our customers in terms of changing the media schedule that they had. If you look at the table, and this is, I know it's a bit hard to sort of review it, but if you look at this table, columns indicate the time and day when the AdWords are being aired, and the rows indicate the channels on which these different AdWords are running. Additionally, the number within the cells indicates the number of spots given, or number of unique spots this advertisement was aired over a period of time. And you can see that it only aired on the 5 days, and they did not air it on Wednesday and Thursday, which is depending upon the market. And in the next heat map that we could generate is the percentage of relative change that happened for 5 minutes. 5 minutes was a period that we took based on our assessment into the key metric. A key metric in our case was users, but the key metric can vary. So if you analyze this data, you can easily see that when the advertisement was aired in the prime time on channel 2 and 3 on Tuesday, it had impact of about increase in usage for about 57% to 31%, which is sort of okay. And if you look at the advertisement which was aired on Sunday noon, there were only two spots each on channel, and they had a huge impact on the number of additional users that they were able to be brought in. So essentially, you can see that the scheduling has opportunity to change, to be shift from Tuesday to Sunday. Additionally, there are factors which you could consider between the channels. For example, there are 5 and 4 AdWords being aired over Monday noon, and you can identify clearly that the impact from channel 1 was meager, and the impact from channel 2 at 68% was significantly better than channel 1. So there is an opportunity where, if you may want to shift a bit of a budget between the channels, that's also a very interesting concept that you can take as a recommendations. So that's pretty much it from my side, and there are many variety of actions that you can take. But what I'm trying to explain here, or what I try to explain here, is a very high-level methodology that you can employ to measure the impact of TV advertisement. There are a lot of, it's not like a perfect, it's not accurate, but it's better than the current methodologies that you have when you're investing billions of dollars into the advertisement. But it doesn't end here. However, I would just pause here and let the audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the questions panel, and I or Siegfried would be more than happy to answer them. And we're jumping to a very interesting section here when Siegfried is going to explain how you sort of do a post-processing or pre-processing of data. Are there any tools that you can use in such scenario? And the most important part is, how do you sort of use it beyond analytics? What action do you take? And what is the interesting concept called programmatic marketing? So Siegfried, are you ready? Okay. I'll just share the presentation Right. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
We can see
Everybody
that.
sees the next slide. Yeah. What
Absolutely.
Gabby presented us was, as we can say, a post-processing of the data. So he got out the data of his analytics tool and also correlated it with the media plan and then worked out how the impact was. So you need, as he said, the media plan, the data of the analytics tools, and then it depends how fast you get the reports. Let's say if you have Google Analytics Premium, you are assured that you will get the data 4 hours later with a latency of maximum 4 hours, and then you can start to calculate, which shouldn't need too much time, but you have this delay. Or if you have another analytics tools and you have a longer delay, you can start a day or later to calculate all your reports. This is very fine if you want to optimize your next TV flight. But if you want to react right now, of course, this is too late. And if you want to choose to use real-time processing, which we see now, there are two options. Either you provide a media plan in advance, but as Ravi also mentioned, they are not very accurate, because if you book, for example, your ad at 8 p.m. in the evening, you are not assured that it will be on air exactly at 8 o'clock. It can be 1 minute before or 3 minutes later, so this is not so accurate. There is another method where systems are sniffing the digitized TV stream and are just watching and detecting whether your video and sound appears in the TV stream, and so they detect it like in real time when your ad is on the air. And in that same moment can the processing start of the live data of your web analytics system. And if you have that, you don't get only real-time reports, but you can also react on that. And we will see what means react in the next chapter. This would be an example report that we can do with TV tracking, and of course then you would see your TV channels that you have booked in your networks. We can see how many respondents we had, and also maybe the engagement rate, for example, like here in this case, the time on the site, for example, but also bounce rates if you choose to report on that. This would be a good feedback to see if I compare it to the spend per channel to see how was the impact and the return on investment in terms of visitors. But of course, I'm waiting for the slide to change. Also, e-commerce situations can measure how is the immediate impact of the advertisement. At the beginning, we saw that a couple of people react on vouchers and ads, and are interested to buy the product right now. And then, of course, we can also see which channel triggered the visit and the revenue, but also which of more creatives, for example, which ad block was best, which movie before or afterward. And we could even see whether also the presence of a competitor has occurred in the same TV break. Now, how can this be done? It's exactly the same method as Ravi described before. We expect more traffic in two channels when a TV ad is on air. One is direct traffic from the few people that still type in all the URL, but most of the people will, of course, type in just the brand name or the product name that has been advertised, and then you come via brand search from Google or any other search engine. And if somebody is interested, we have done a long white paper on that, but it is in German, so for all the German fans here, German-speaking fans, go ahead and download it. And this can, also in our studies, we came to the same 5 minutes. Sometimes we reduce this window if more than one spot is on air very near to each other, but that is not so often the case. From our perspective, for this precision, we like to have second-based analysis data. So we now know a lot of things, and we don't want to lean back, we want to lean forward because we want to react and gain something with that. If you see the typical behavior of the user, here for example, in the TV break, his attention is not at the TV screen anymore, his attention is on his second screen, in this case on the tablet. So what should we do? We of course should also be present on the screen where the attention is right now. So we should like sync our display ads and of course our search ads with our own TV spot. And for example, a common error is that a lot of companies spend huge amounts of money on TV and forget to sync their AdWords campaigns or search marketing campaigns. Let's say you advertise for a 4G LTE product and all your competitors are on the places 1, 2, 3 in the ads on Google AdWords. So you have achieved a lot of interest, but your competitors win. And this may not, should never happen. And instead of raising the budget that you spend on AdWords all the day, you could automatically increase it programmatically in the moment that your ad is on air, and stop it and stay 10 to 30 minutes later, also automatically. Another situation is, as we saw, people use their mobile phone or their tablet and look for sports or other news. And if that occurs, you can book display advertising right there. And in the seconds and minutes during your TV campaign, you could bid a higher CPM, of course, because you want all the attention for your campaign. And this again can be slowed down and cut down, let's say 10 to 30 minutes after the ad has been on air. And the third place where you should react upon your TV ad is of course your homepage. Because if the ad triggers people to go to your homepage, you know exactly what they are interested in. So you should not communicate all your dozens of campaigns and products and services during the TV ad, and again 30 minutes on, you should only focus on the message that you promoted on TV. And this can also be done programmatically, which means automatically, and could be put back to the normal homepage, let's say again 30 minutes later. So these are the things that we think
Wow, that's a fantastic idea. I think these are some of the key ideas that we can easily use, Sigfrid, that we can easily use this for sort of using the sort of complementing the TV ad and eventually being present on all the second screen, so that we are able to sort of maximize our exposure in the eyes of all the potential customers that we have.
So, do you? I'm back again. I've been lost from the server.
Yeah.
So you have my screen again and my audio.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fine. So I can continue. Fine, thank you. And if you're really a pro, you can use your competitor's budget. Because if your competitors does a TV campaign with the automatic detection when his ad is on air, you can of course trigger your AdWords budget and your display budget. And if, for example, Verizon features 4G LTE, you as T-Mobile or whoever you are could then raise your AdWords budget. And some people could be scared of that, and there is still advantage if you do it now. If everybody does it, then this game will be over again. But today it is possible, and I think we should use it if it's there and available.
Wow, that's very interesting. This is like, eventually you're right that it's a zero-sum game. However, this is certainly an interesting concept in practice to sort of use the competitor's intelligence and eventually use it for your own benefit in AdWords. That's like a very interesting concept that you shared, Siegfried. Totally appreciate it. Okay, at this moment, thank you for sharing the sharing the control back to me. Why don't we let audience go on and ask all the questions that they may have. In the meantime, I have gotten a couple of questions. Okay, let me voice out this question and see if Siegfried, if you want to sort of try and answer it. Okay, so there is a question from one of the audience. I think his name is Chris. Yes, he says that when we have multiple TV AdWords running parallelly and minute data being inaccurate, in this situation, when we present it to the potential results, is there a concern of accuracy that you have seen from the recipient of the this sort of analysis? Any accuracy being challenged in your case? I can answer that, Siegfried, but I would love to learn your perspective if you want to sort of share.
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll second that then.
Okay, sure. So one of the learnings that we've had when we carried out such projects was, yes, the accuracy was difficult, questionable. However, we were able to generate certain key points out of our analysis which were fairly actionable in nature, in specific to their scheduling. And when we were able to identify a schedule shift or optimization in schedule in terms of the network and the timing that they want to do, and the difference between them was so huge that even then, the accuracy of our analysis could only be 60 or 70%. Then also the insights would have been better over a period of time. So right now, as we stand here, our customer is sort of changing their schedule and asking us, that okay, can you now measure the change schedule and tell us what's going on? So this has become an interesting ongoing assessment for us. So that's been our experience pretty much.
Yeah, and what we've learned is that if the different ads are too close together, it is not so easy to distinguish the traffic. Did it come from channel A or channel B? But what you still can determine whether it came from TV or not. So yes, it is easy then to say TV traffic has increased, but I cannot say it was campaign A or campaign B or channel A or channel B.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. That's totally correct. There's a question from John Baranello, and we're probably shooting time, but I'll still take this. So the question is, TV as a channel will have a carryover impact that is usually measured by using ad stock decay assumption. What is our point of view on how this assumption could be impacting online behavior? Is there a carryover impact that can be measured with online behavior? So essentially, if I can expand this question, what this gentleman is asking is the impact of TV is not just immediate, but in addition to immediate, it is also over a period of time, and the impact will sort of accumulate based on the number of interaction with the advertisement a consumer or a customer can have. And I totally second the point of view that John has. But I do think that what we could measure is only an immediate reaction or immediate response. And when we apply the analysis like cohort analysis, the overall longer-term impact can also be analyzed. But in my book, that's fairly complex implementation combined with a complex analysis project. And we would be very interested in that. So, however, I agree with you that there is an impact which is sort of over a period of time, but it's hard to sort of connect directly. So, Siegfried, if you have an opinion, I would love to know.
John is absolutely right. And today, I think we can only see the short-term effect. We cannot see that the effect that he describes. But two additions. First, a year ago we weren't even able to measure that, so I'm really happy to be able to see this short-term effect. And the second thing is we are waiting for the cookie for the people in front of the screens. And if that sounds funny, we all know that digital TV in terms of HBB TV is coming sometime soon. And you know that the TV sets will have IP addresses then. And let's see what we can do then. And we will be prepared.
Yes. That's what I'm aiming at as well. So you're right that when the technology advances, I think we'll be in a very interesting. There's one more question. I know I'm shooting over time, but there's one more question that I think is very worth mentioning here. Is there a possibility of getting more detailed data than minute data, and what are the tools that currently provide minute level or second level data, if at all they do? Siegfried, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, it depends on, I mean, you could also export your log files and send them over to Ravi, and he will be happy to process them, I guess. And the guy asking the question is aware of that analytics only is providing aggregated data on minute level. And of course, there are tools that are able to do raw level data. Like we work a lot with WebTrack, and there we have this data that is really accurate. And there are also other tools specialized in just collecting information to do TV tracking in real time. So shop around, ask your favorite consultant, and you will get the solution.
Absolutely. Wow, that's fantastic. I think that's a very right way to put it. All right. So I know we've totally overshot the time, which this is not normally something which I enjoyed, but I think the questions keep coming, and I only answered 3 questions out of about 13 that we have received. So to all the people who we have not answered, I'm really sorry. We would definitely answer them either as a blog post or as a sort of separate email. So thank you everyone, and thank you especially Siegfried for joining us. And it was a pleasure listening to you and your ideas. And I look forward to listening to you more in upcoming webinars.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Thanks for having me. It was great.
Absolutely, excellent. So all the listeners, you will see a feedback form coming out. Feedback is extremely important to us. So if you can provide feedback, suggestion, comments, directions, that will be totally amazing. And we will use that. You're being heard totally. Your feedback is extremely valuable. All right, so I'll sign it off from my side. Thank you so much once again, and I look forward to do more webinars with you in future. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.